Hey guys, think about it. If we were going to have a mock trial on the case of Christopher Watts, what do you think would matter the most at his trial? I can think of a few things that would matter. I think it would be important before the trial even started, before the jurors were even selected, to file a motion in limine requesting that all medical records be allowed into evidence. Not only the medical records to either support or refute the claims by Christopher Watts' wife of all of her illnesses and diseases and conditions and allergies and all that, but also all the medical records of the children. Wouldn't it be interesting to be able to compare the medical records with the Facebook posts? I think another important motion, a preliminary motion, would be to throw out that police interview. If you think about it, I mean, he wasn't even facing the camera, right? And did you notice that as soon as they said they were getting a lawyer, then the officers who were obviously watching the interview went racing right back into that room, didn't they? So I don't know. Was he read his Miranda rights? And even if he was, I guess at what point after they say they want a lawyer does the questioning stop, as opposed to reacting by saying, hey, let's keep right on to talking here, as soon as they heard the word lawyer. So I think those would be important to address also. And then I think it would be very important to see the forensic accounting, not only of the couple's finances, but of Christopher Watts' wife's finances leading up to their wedding. And I know, that your first argument would be, oh, that's stale information. That has nothing to do with it. It was 6 years ago. But I think it has a lot to do with this case. I really do. She made a video saying that she worked so hard to buy her house and everything, and she presented it as if she made a bunch of money on her house. She didn't. And I think those details would really matter. They say that prosecutors don't have to prove motive, but dang well in this case they'd be saying that Christopher Watts' motive was because he wanted to be with his girlfriend. So I think it would be important for the jury to really be able to see the timeline of that relationship. Not just all the medical weird stuff, but the finances for sure. I think it would also be important to, of course, include any and all CPS records, any and all reports to CPS, any and all restrictions placed. I think it would be especially important to include any records from the 6 weeks in North Carolina, any of the caseworker notes, any of the travel logs that the caseworkers kept, how often they would have stopped to check on the kids, that sort of thing. And then, of course, the Facebook posts, right? All the videos, all the comments. Hokey Pete. I think that trial would be a long one. But there's a lot of evidence in those videos, isn't there? And on those social media posts that she made. If you look at the familial Mediterranean fever one, just that one alone, she claimed at one point that one of the girls had familial Mediterranean fever, and then 3 months later she was claiming that the doctors were still diagnosing. So I guess which is it, right? And those text messages, I don't know about you, but if I was sitting on a jury for the case of Christopher Watts and I saw that his wife texted to him just 8 days before Bella and Cece were murdered by one of their parents in what should have been the safety of their own home, the words, "Would you stay with me if we didn't have kids?" Huh, talk about reasonable doubt. It'd be right there for me. I'd read that text and think, huh, isn't this interesting? And then to learn also that she asked Christopher Watts if he wanted her to get an abortion. Yeah, I think, to me, if I was sitting on the jury, I think that would be plenty of reasonable doubt right there. And you know what else I'd like to see if I was sitting on the jury? Would be the DNA results for the fetus. I think that'd be really interesting information too. And also the HOA court case, the payments that were due at the daycare, whether or not they were required to be in daycare, which is, of course, you know what we've been told. If so, I guess that all ties in with the forensic accounting, of course, but I guess that what I would call the house of cards, tumbling down, that situation I think would be very important to know the details of just how broke they were the morning or the night or whatever, the early morning hours that Bella and Cece were murdered. I don't know. What would you like to see if you were sitting on the jury? What would you like to see presented by either the prosecution or the defense? Let us know in the comment section below.